Welcome to the Power Collab June Edition in the Power Platform Learner Series. In this comprehensive series, you will discover a curated collective of the expert discussion and deep dives into the world of Dataverse, Dynamics CRM, Power Platform, and Microsoft Copilot. Whether you are a seasoned professional or a curious newcomer, the series offers valuable insight into the powerful tool. Learn from the industry's leaders as they share their knowledge and experience, explore advanced features, and provide tips and tricks to help you maximize your use with these platforms. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay updated as we continue to add more content there. Today, we are going to talk a bit on the security, licensing, and the auditing around the Power Platform and the Dynamic 365 products. And of course, talk will not be completed without the Copilot in it. So let's begin. As we navigate the evolving landscape of the hybrid and the remote work, it is crucial to ensure that our languages keep pace with the changing need of our customer. To support this, Microsoft made an important update to the definition of the external users that better reflects modern work environments while providing clear guidelines for licensing requirements. Currently, the term external user refer to the user that are not your employees, on-site contractor, or on-site agent of the customer or its affiliates. Effective from the 1st of October 2024, external user will be modified for products that include external user used right in the product terms. The new definition will refer to the users that are not employee of your customers or if affiliates, contractors or agent that typically work for the customer or its affiliates for more than 30 hours on average per week. Also, contractors or agents that typically work on site for customers or its affiliates on each working day. For more information, please reach out to your account teams or drop a message to the chat, or probably you can connect with the LinkedIn so we can appropriately make your connection with the right person who can provide you more insight into that one. Please note that the changes of this definition only applies to the customer who sign an enrollment or agreement on or after the 1st of October 2024. Power Pages offers a secure platform and necessary tools for creating external facing business websites. Now, Microsoft are improving the platform security further to empower users to protect their sites. You can quickly check how secure your sites are with a scan, make them more secure by setting up the web roles, pages, and table permission, web application firewall, authentication, site visibility, and HTTP header through advanced settings. These features highlight that Power Pages prioritize giving users clarity and control over the digital asset while ensuring their safety. For the detailed session and the demo, please follow us on the Power Pages Quick Tip series on the same channel. Now, I would like to hand over to Bluevent and let's see what Bluevent is coming up. Over to you, Bluevent.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I take over your screen and follow the fantastic summer vibes slide that you have just already created in the beginning of this session here. Good. So a few Copilot Studio updates for you. Today, I would like to show you the wonderful world of knowledge sources, which is not quite new in that stack, but has now a brand new name since Microsoft Build 2024 in May. And let's have a little more deeper look into this, how this looks like. So in that case, let me just open up some examples. So, and if you just go, and this is a brand new UI in Copilot Studio, if I haven't encountered with that, it looks really good. And in that case, if you just go to knowledge source, so any of your Copilots has now this knowledge tab in that case. And with that knowledge tab, you can just enter any of that knowledge. So let's do this by clicking on add knowledge. And you see a few of them items. So if you're working a little bit longer with Copilot Studio, then a few of them are not unknown to you. That means adding a public website and files and SharePoint, internal SharePoint sites wasn't new. So these are the ones which you can add as a knowledge source, and Copilot Studio uses this and to feed your Copilot, which you're just bringing in. What is new is the Dataverse part, which we just reflect today. It's in preview. And what's also very fascinating is Microsoft Fabric. So if you're coming from that area with data and AI, this will be very exciting to compile all the data which is coming here and to let work with Copilot Studio. This is currently not available, but coming soon. I'm really curious when it comes, so to touch hands on it just to try this out. So today we're just going into the Dataverse part. So what I did as an overview, so I've just created 3 examples which we can go quickly through. So first of all, everyone hopefully should know what the book of news is. If not, so this is something which just came out of Build. So this is a huge book with all the announcement during Build. So that's really cool. So my idea was, instead that I'm reading this, I'm using this here. And then hopefully Copilot just gives me the answers. So for example, like, let me just get rid of this one. And I'm just asking, can you tell me more about all Copilot Studio features? Finger crossed. That's always the case, you know, with generative AI, if something just comes out or not, or just you just get an error message. That can also be, you know, it's just like a human being in the morning. So let's see. I apologize, but as an AI language model, I don't have access to it. So this is, you know, when Copilot getting so tired after a long day, when I'm just bothering with a lot of my questions, then it just doesn't want to work with me anymore. It's more responsible in the morning. This site is just in North America. That's why during the day, that's not day in North America, it doesn't work that quite fluent. It works much better from a European perspective. You just do that in the morning. But that's not a problem. Our interest is obviously something else. Our interest is what happens if you use Dataverse with that. So in that case, what I did as a structure, I have just divided on, you know, use 3 tables in that case, you know, with platform, which is, for example, Power Platform, pillar, that can be Copilot Studios, it can be Power Apps, it can be whatever, and the feature. So I've just divided that. And let's see what happens if I'm just asking for a feature. So can you tell me more about features in Copilot Studio? So let's see how this works. Fingers crossed again. Let's see if that somehow works. So what we found out is that it's not working that fast with Dataverse as with generative AI. It takes some time, but let's see. Or not, let's see in that case, when something comes up or not. So can we have some advertisement here in that case, you know, some kind, you know, to overcome, you know, the waiting time? Oh, look at this. Okay, cool. So we had found some conversational analytics feature in Copilot Studio. There are much more, which you just can't find. But when you try it out with other areas, like with Power Apps, for example, it comes up with more. You see that not nice wording because it's a trial environment, but it some kind works, which is interesting. So, and the last demo in that case is about how you put, you know, instead of pointing directly to a knowledge source and you say at the end, how about I'm using that in a topic, and a topic looks like this. So let me see, I have just to go to my conversational start, I guess, or not. Let me see. Reload this one. Let's look. Demo. It was demo. So I needed to add demo in that case. No, that is very fantastic. You just call demo in that case, and then it just jumps up. So what I just did in that case, very short demo. I didn't put any of the pillars there, platforms there. So like Azure, for example, all that so very short. You guide your user in that case. So you say, okay, these are my options. In that case, it's pretty simple. It's Power Platform. You just ask what kind of product you want to choose. Yeah, it's about Copilot Studio in that case. And then I have now hard-coded something. I'm using prompts. Based on that prompt, you can just guide it a little bit better. And prompts are not in preview. They're working quite well. So the combination of topics and prompts are the most promising thing at the moment if you want to use that with a knowledge source like with Dataverse. It also takes some time, but I guess it has really to do that I have most probably slowest trial ever on this planet, and it's in North America. So once this is there and ready, you get some nice details. So this is what we have just expected. So let me scroll down how it looks like. So we're just asking around, you see, this is the effort you need to build everything on your own. And at the end, we're just getting to a prompt. And then based on that, you're getting a much more precise answer. So you have asked about Copilot agent, which I hard-coded, by the way, but and then at the end, you're getting really the feature description like you would read that from the book of news. So instead of trusting that you just only put the book of news as a knowledge source and hoping you get the precise answer, this is more gambling in that case. So with that approach, you have a much more better predictable way of displaying all the time the good information. And for any case you're just interested in how this prompt looks like, I can help you with this as well, based on a very fast loading speed of that. Maybe I've just pressed that earlier. But once it's there, this is how prompting then looked in Copilot Studio. Here we go. So I'm searching for the Dataverse feature. So that's a table feature, and it can name it, based on the fields or columns I just have. And I said, this is, the hard-coded text I'm just getting over. So you can also make it a little bit more dynamic and it's selectable, and then respond back with a feature description. So I guide him a little bit more and better in that case. And then I'm getting also a better answer. And it's not really some kind of random what I'm just getting. So with this way, I think that's more promising at the moment, but you need to put more effort into this, obviously, just to make it happen. More effort in terms of you have to put everything, precise into your Dataverse tables, and more effort, obviously, you have to put everything into your topics. So speaking by that, this is a very promising feature, if you ask me. And I also, let me see. Let me just go back to my presentation in that case. So this is what we had so far with knowledge sources. It's an interesting feature. I had also some kind of a blog. So this is the link tree in that case. This points then to this place, and there's YouTube, which is currently not so much on videos there, and LinkedIn, especially, and etc. But this here is interesting because that what I have just described is also done in a notebook. I just put some cakes there, so you're getting hungry at the end. So if you're reading that, then you get also a kind of piece there. So everything what I've just told here, you can also read as well. Very well, just to read. And last but not least, if you're interested in hearing more Copilot Studios, I just started a newsletter on this, which also is nice. Then you don't need to deal with all that kind of thing. So you're just getting then when you're on LinkedIn, and that's only a 3-4 minutes read. So I just put, from favorite MVPs and what they did and so on, some videos, and the topic which just interests you is good. We have already nearly 500 subscribers for things that have started 3 weeks ago, and maybe you're also part of that as well. So in that case, thank you very much for your attention, and hand over then to Sweta.
Thanks a lot, Willem. It was a nice and interesting demo.
And a long time. Waiting time.
Let me quickly take over the sharing. I hope my screen is visible. Okay, cool. So hello, everyone. Today, I'm going to cover a very interesting feature related to the security model of Dynamics 365, which is called as Modernized Business Unit. Now, what is Modernized Business Unit? So consider a use case wherein my organization has operations all across Europe. So we have like service teams for Germany, service teams for France, etc. And then I have a requirement wherein the users from Germany are not supposed to view the cases in France. So I want a business level visibility control implemented for the service requests that are raised in each of these countries. But then I have supervisors who are like common across these countries. So I have a supervisor who is supervising cases across France, Germany, Switzerland, etc. And these supervisors need to then have access to the cases across these countries. In this case, then I want my supervisor to have access to the records across the business unit. And how can we implement this? This can be implemented by the concept of modernized business unit, which allows users to access data across multiple business units. You can provide them different security roles, different privileges across the n number of business units based upon your requirement. So I will now move on to the demo to demo this particular use case that I just mentioned about. Okay, so I'm currently in my Power Platform environment in Admin Center. And let me first tell you what do I need to enable this particular modernized business unit feature. So I'm in my trial environment and I have to go to settings. Under product, I have to navigate to features. And here we have a simple toggle, which is record ownership across business units. So only global admins or Power Platform admins have the access to actually turn on this particular toggle. And it takes a couple of minutes to actually take into effect. And as soon as I have this particular toggle enabled, what happens is that when I actually assign security roles to my users, now in this case, I have got two users. I have Alex, who is an agent in Germany, and then I have Luke, who is an agent in France. But then Luke is also a supervisor. So he needs to have access to cases in Germany as well, in addition to the cases in France. So Luke was originally assigned to the business unit France, and that's what you can see over here. But then since I've enabled the record ownership across business units, I can see a drop down over here and select any other business unit and assign a different role to this particular user. If this particular toggle is not enabled, then this drop down is read only and you can't do any changes here. So for Luke, I have assigned roles in France because that's his base business unit or original business unit. And then I've also given him access to Germany. I've given him a base user role. And then I've given him a custom customer service rep role, which is giving him a read and a write access to the cases. And then I've given him customer service app access. So let's see how this works for these two agents. So first, let me show you the cases that are created by Alex. Alex is located in Germany, and these are the cases that he can see. You can see that owner is Alex, and then the owning business unit for this particular record in Germany, because he's the owner. So by default, these records are moved to the business unit of the owner of that particular record. So this setting is by default set to true. And I will cover about details about that later. And now if I go to Luke, this is how you will see the cases that he has in his list. So he has the cases that are created by him. He's the owner. And he can then also see the cases that are created by Alex. And you can see the owning business unit for them in Germany. Now, there's also one more organizational setting, which is allow record ownership. I cannot remember the name exactly. It's allow always move record to the owner business unit. So this particular setting, what it does is that it moves a record owning business unit to the business unit of the owner. So in this case, for Alex, it's Germany, and for Luke, it's France. Now, tomorrow, when Alex or Luke is working on the case which is created by Alex, and he tries to assign it to him, what will happen is that the owning business unit of this particular record will change to France. So if he decides to assign it to him, and we can see that. So you can see that the owning business unit of this particular record, which he just changed to himself, is now moved to France. And when this happens, this particular record is now not visible to the users in Germany because the owning business unit is changed. So when we have this organizational setting, which is always set to false, we can set, which is always set to true, sorry, we can set it to false by using organization setting tool. You will be able to find the details of it on any Microsoft Learn page. And when we set that to false, then when the owner of a particular record changes, the owning business unit does not change. So even if the owner is now changed, the record will continue to remain in its original business unit. So the users in the other business unit can also see this record, and this particular user can also start working on it. Yeah, so these were the two features that I wanted to bring your attention to. And not only this particular use case, but many organizations have shared marketing teams, shared sales teams across geographies. And for these kind of use cases, then this particular feature becomes very, very useful. So I hope this helps you, and you can then encourage you to use this in your projects as well. So with that, now I pass it on to Milad. Over to you, Milad.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So very interesting, this feature of the business units. Business units is also a very, very interesting feature for me, especially when we are looking into the Power Platform and looking into a shared production or developer environment, whatever. So multiple people can use the same table, for example, but have different business units. And also think of topics like you want to edit the flow of your colleague because you are a development team, so you could potentially also create a business unit for your developers so that they can see and customize their own solutions or own apps and flows. If they don't have the system customizer, for example, or the environment, just the system customizer in this case. So what I want to show you can be actually also be done with the setting which Sveta has shown you. So let me go into the Power Platform Admin Center, and we are looking into the environment level. So at the end, so the basic goal of this short demo is to show you that every Dataverse every setting in the features which we have, for example, seeing, or every auditing feature is basically just a value in the Dataverse table organizations. And we can see that actually here. Let's take the example of Sveta. So we are turning this on or turning this off. At the end, we need to press on save because at the moment I didn't, save it. So when I'm just, reopening it again, we will see that the feature is off on my environment. So now let's have the situation. We want to enable or disable a feature for a bunch of environments. I mean, if there's an organization which has multiple, more than 100 or more than 1,000 environments, and you want to enforce or enable or disable an environment feature globally, you have a lot of struggles if there is no tenant setting it. Therefore, there's something important to know that at the end, each setting, which we can see, is basically just a column in a Dataverse table. So when I'm pressing here on and saving this particular feature, you see that it is doing some HTTP requests. And this is at the end the most important thing. When we are looking into the HTTP request, we see that it's sending a patch request towards of course, your environment ID, or if you change the name, currently it's just org, and it is doing a patch request towards the organizational table, and then with this row ID. And when we are looking into the payload, we see that this particular feature, which I changed now, has been now updated. So this is the column, and this is the value which has been updated. For this setting, it's maybe it looks a bit more complex, but when we are looking to other features, like, let me go to my particular environment again, to maybe to auditing. Yeah, so let's assume you want to disable or enable auditing for all your environments. When I'm clicking here again on save, you are seeing that it's sending again a patch request towards the table. And you see now from a reading perspective, this is a bit more easy. So again, sending out a patch request towards your Dataverse table into the table organizations with the row which is listed here. And you see that in the payload, the value has changed to false. How can you do that now globally? You could, for example, if you have any, applications where you're just writing HTTP requests, you could stick to the functionality of, sending the patch request towards this API, just using the Dataverse web API. You could also, for example, create a Power Automate flow. Now, this is just a Power Automate flow, which is updating the row in one environment, but you can, loop through all your environments, get the environment ID, put it here instead of just selecting it from the UI. You can also add the custom value with the ID of the environment. It's always the organizational table. And then for the row ID, you must have an action before that to get the row ID, because this can be different on each environment. And then now here it is a bit more let's say it's user-friendly, but we can discuss on that. But here you can see that every feature basically is available in this table. So I had this feature audit settings here, which I turned off. Now I want to turn this on again on this environment. And now here it is not showing the logical name, because this is just the logical name, which is as the internal name in SharePoint. And here it is the display name. So I turn this on to yes and run that. And now from the expectation is that this setting will be turned to so the checkmark is filled. And let's wait until the flow has run successfully. Okay, you see that the flow has run successfully. And let me just quickly refresh. And then you see that feature is now on. Now, how can we use it? As said, there are a lot of environment features which maybe tenant admins want to disable or even enable. And this is the way to go. Even these features like generative AI features with move data across regions, maybe especially for German organizations, this is not wished at the moment until they get an approval or whatever. And this is actually the same. Also here, you can turn these features on or off, and then just have a look into the developer tools under network. When you press on save, which table has been, which column has been changed at the end. So this takes a bit. But then you can see again that this is also a patch request which is being done. Here it is the updated value. But again, you can see on here it's also the complete view of the settings. Yeah, and that's it actually. Thanks.
Thanks, Milad. Yeah, going last is hard because we saw great things already. Sveta, with, for example, the modernized business unit. I always fake that with putting teams to different business units, and then you assign the roles to the teams and the users to the teams, and it will somehow work. And also we had cakes, and the cake is usually a lie. I'm more down to the ground with features that really work 100% all the time, whatever you do. I have brought you something from the admin center. So if you remember auditing, auditing was classically, so with the advanced settings in administration, system settings, and then you have a tab here called auditing. And there you can set up auditing. This has moved now because Microsoft wants to get rid of this whole advanced settings thing, so things will have to move. And you saw that with users, teams, security roles, everything moved here, and also auditing moved here. So you will find it under settings, audit and logs, and then audit settings. And this looks pretty similar, although we see this retain logs thing, which is interesting because log storage is expensive, and usually it does not come with the licenses of Power Apps or Dynamics licenses. So unlike Dataverse, so the table storage, it will not increase if you have a bigger user base. So you will need to buy the log storage, and who wants to do that at that prices? So you want to limit auditing in general, but here with these retain logs for 30 days for a dev or test environment will usually be fine. Just for the production, you want something like forever. So for the settings you can take other than how long to retain the logs, okay, Mila just showed it. You can start auditing after all, then all the rest is disabled if you don't audit. And auditing in this case only means something that we will see here at my test table. So under related, you will always find an audit history thing or menu point, no matter if it's enabled or not at the environment level, and no matter if the table is audited or not. And so right here we see it is enabled. I will find something. If auditing is disabled for this table, I will still see this grid, but it will just be empty. So that is not the only setting you need to set up. The other two are ones here at the table, properties, and then somewhere under advanced right here for this table, audit changes to its data is the one thing. And then the second thing is, let's take a simple string field here, is also here at advanced settings, enable auditing. So this now also needs to be set up for the column. It is enabled for most column types by default, but you can choose to disable it if, for example, a certain column changes very often and you don't want to fill up your log space with that table. So yeah, then there are, so this is this first box, start auditing. There are two more boxes, log access and read logs, and these work a little different because these do not log somewhere in Dataverse, but they log to Microsoft Purview, which is Microsoft's overarching auditing solution. So there's also Microsoft 365 and so on. These logs are all in Purview. I've made big mistakes in preparing this because so this is the new Purview portal. By the way, if you go here via this link, you will get to the old Compliance Center, which is deprecated. Microsoft has not updated the link yet. So purview.microsoft.com is the link. And then here under audit, you will find the auditing things. And basically you specify, for example, a date range for when you want to see the audits. And then you can see the query results, what has happened in your environment. So for example, someone logged into Dynamics 365. You would see that here. Why are there 0 items? Because I am lazy. I've prepared it like 30 minutes before we talked, and here start recording user and admin activity. It takes 24 to 48 hours to enable for my tenant. That's unfortunate, so we won't see anything today. But that's also something you need to enable. Then in general, log access is only the logins, so someone logged into the environment. And that's something often enabled just because you want to see, for example, the places from where someone logs in, especially if there are, if someone thinks they might be hacked, or if we think they might be hacked, we could see that via these login attempts. Read logs is, I don't think I have a project right now which has this enabled. This produces a lot of traffic because everything you view in the Dynamics produces a record in these logs. So you look at the table, that's a log. You look at the form, that's a log. And so a lot of space if you have quite some users on the system. This is only for certain industries where it's really important. So where you, I don't know, you have to have justification to view a record, and you can't do that on the security model, but somehow need to still be able to trace it, then okay, read logs is something you need. Otherwise, with start auditing and enabling on the table, you will see who made the changes, when, and what they changed. Okay, that's it, I guess, from my side. So I guess, Ambesh, you are closing it off?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Millard. So let me just quickly share my screen and then I will make a closer for that. So thank you again, everyone of you here in the call to provide your valuable tips and the tricks also to the audience, as well as to extend your tremendous support. If you have not subscribed yet, then please subscribe to the channel and like and share the videos within the community. Also provide your feedback in the comment section that what episode, what all the features you want us to cover next. If you want to join us our Power Collab group and learn along with us, just drop me a message on the LinkedIn. Till that, have a great time and a happy learning. Thank you so much. Bye everyone.